From where it happened, the Army Hour's on-the-scene reporters bring you the story of what happened to keep you up to date on the Army's worldwide operations. This week from Vietnam, ralliers to the Chu Hoi program.
What did you do once you had these people under your control, sir?
Well, we gathered them up there, and I had my kit Carson scout to start interrogating them and try to find out where they came from, and we made a quick check for any weapons or any other items that might be of any interest.
From Alaska, top of the world air defense.
We have two acquisition radar operators here. What they are actually doing is looking out in the area for targets. They're searching in azimuth and in range. And once they have found a target, they'll pass it to our tracking radars. And our tracking radars will then actually track these live aircraft that the Air Force is flying.
And the four specialists make a guest appearance on stage. We're mighty pleased to have you with us here on stage, where each week we book for your entertainment the most popular recording stars and the Army's top talent. Our guests this time are from Fort Myer, Virginia, and here they are, the four specialists, to sing Lulu's Back in Town.
Gotta get my old tuxedo pressed. Gotta sew a button on my vest, 'cause tonight I've gotta look my best. Lulu's back in town. Gotta get a $50 somewhere. Gotta shine my shoes and slick my hair. Gotta get myself a boutonniere. Lulu's back in town. You can tell all my pets, all my blondes and brunettes, Mr. Otis regrets that he won't be around. You can tell the mailman not to call. I'm not coming home until the fall, and I might not get back home at all. Lulu's back in town. I gotta get my tuxedo pressed. Gotta sew a button on my vest. For tonight I've gotta look my best for Lulu, Lulu. I gotta get a few bucks somewhere. Gotta shine my shoes and slick my hair. Gotta get myself a boutonniere. Lulu. You can tell all of my pets, all my blondes and all my brunettes. Mr. Otis really regrets that he won't be around. You can tell the mailman not to call. I'm not coming home until the fall, and I might not get back home at all. Lulu's back. Lulu's back. Lulu's back in town.
There they were, 31 Vietnamese carrying a white flag and walking toward a patrol of the 1st Air Cavalry Division. These were not enemy soldiers surrendering, they were Vietnamese civilians turning themselves in under the Chu Hoi program. The Army's Chu Hoi program, which means open arms, seeks to persuade Viet Cong soldiers and civilian sympathizers to come back to the fold of the South Vietnamese government. Here with that story is Army Hour reporter Master Sergeant Revis Taylor at Phuoc, Vinh, Vietnam.
This is Army Master Sergeant Revis Taylor at Camp Gouvard in Phuoc, Vinh, Vietnam, headquarters for the 1st Air Cavalry Division. Captain Huey Scott is the commanding officer of Delta Troop of the 1st Squadron, 9th Cavalry here in Vietnam with the 1st Air Cavalry Division. And this morning, he just brought in 31 ralliers. And sir, would you tell us please just what we mean when we refer to a rallier?
Well, this is people who worked with the VC, before to work with them, commonly known as Chu Hoys or Hoi Chans.
What do you mean when you say Chui Hoi and Hoi Chan? Will you clarify that, please, sir?
Oh, that's the program we have here in Vietnam, the open arms type program where we'd like the people to come in, give themselves up, and tell them the kind of treatment they will be getting, etc.
What about this morning, sir? Now, you brought in 31. How did this come about?
We had a work operation with the 2nd Battalion, 8th Cav here at Phuoc Vinh, and the 18th Arvin, which worked north of Phuoc Vinh. And we will set up a block and forth on the west side of the red ball that runs north and south between Phuoc Vinh and Dong Gia. And while we set up this block and forth, we had OPs out, and my OP spotted the Chu Hoys with a white flag coming towards us.
I believe we better clarify about 3 of the expressions you used. Of course, red ball would be a highway, the Arvin would be the South Vietnamese Army, and an OP would be an observation post. What did you do once you had these people under your control, sir?
Well, we gathered them up there, and I had my kit cars to scout to start interrogating them and try to find out where they came from, and we made a quick check for any weapons or any other items that might be of any interest.
And a kit car to scout, of course, is Vietnamese who was working with our forces. About how long do you think these people had been associated with the Viet Cong, sir?
Well, from the information we got on our accurate, they said 9 years. This was the first time they had seen any Americans, and it's been 4 or 5 years since they've seen any Arvins at all.
What was their function with the VC?
Well, apparently they worked as far as raising rice, something to that effect. The young man that we brought in, he said he had been going out on some of the patrols with the VC occasionally.
Well, did they seem happy that it was all over with insofar as their association with the VC was concerned, or was it just something that you feel that perhaps they had to do?
Well, combination of both, really. We had sent up a S5 type operation, let them know that some of the villages from that place had already Chu Hoi, and also they was low on food, etc. And they said they snuck away during the night. They only had approximately 7 to 10 VC that was working in the village.
Well, this is just about the first time in quite some time that we've had ralliers in this particular area, is it not, sir?
I believe so. I have to check it, but this far down, I don't think we've had too many here recently. At least not that many.
And how did you get them back here to Phuoc Vinh after they had turned themselves in to you, Captain Scott?
I had my CP back to send out some vehicles, deuce and a half and 3/4 ton. We brought them back to the MACV compound here at Phuoc Vinh.
Thank you very much, sir. For the past few moments, we've been speaking with Captain Huey Scott, who is commanding officer of Delta Troop of the 1st Squadron, 9th Cavalry, 1st Air Cavalry Division in Vietnam. This is Army Master Sergeant Revis Taylor, returning you to the Army Hour in Washington, D.C.
It's that Bourbon Street beat, the Dixielanders of the United States Army Band with That's a Plenty. Only 800 miles from the Russian border, the Army's mighty Nike Hercules missiles stand poised and ready. This is part of our top-of-the-world air defense in Alaska, where modern air defense weapons are capable of immediate and effective response to air threat. For the defense of Alaska is a vital link in the security of the continental United States and Canada. Here, the United States Army Alaska Air Defense Artillery Group is ready 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to carry out its defense mission. That story from Army Hour reporter Sergeant Major Don Cosgrove talking to Lieutenant Barry Gove on Site Summit in Alaska.
Lieutenant, before we find out what is going on, something about our location. Just how high are we, and what do you call this place?
This site's called Site Summit. It's located approximately 4,000 feet to the east of Fort Richardson, just a few miles from Anchorage.
And we are in a van right now. What do you call this, sir?
This is the battery control trailer. Right here we have the people who are directly responsible for all the operations within the battery.
Seems to me it took us a long time to drive up here from down in the valley at Fort Richardson. Just how many miles did we have to drive to get up here?
You drove up a dusty, winding road, approximately 12 miles long. It's our battery access road from Fort Richardson.
Well, Lieutenant, we know that air defense is very important to our country, and the Army shares much of the responsibility. So I suppose we should get right into it now and find out what is happening.
Well, what we have here is an exercise going on in coordination with the Air Force. The Air Force is actually flying some of their aircraft into our defense, and our sites in the Anchorage defense are simulating an actual engagement against these aircraft. We are pretending that these aircraft are the enemy.
Well, these men that we have working around us right now, they seem to be very, very busy. This man here is looking at a radar, and I would assume these men have had to have a lot of training to qualify them for this type of work.
Yes, they have. They've all been to one sort of a school or another. We have people who are trained maintenance experts on site that have been to school as upwards of 44 weeks. These people here, the operators, go to an advanced training school at Fort Bliss, Texas, before coming to a site, and of course their training continues the whole time they're here on site in Alaska.
Well, Lieutenant, very briefly now, so that a layman might be able to understand, will you tell me what some of these men are actually doing right now?
All right, we have two acquisition radar operators here. What they are actually doing is looking out in the area for targets. They're searching in azimuth and in range. And once they have found a target, they'll pass it to our tracking radars. And our tracking radars will then actually track these live aircraft that the Air Force is flying. And we will simulate the engagement all the way up to just short of actually firing a missile.
You go all the way without actually going all the way.
That's right. That's right. We're actually, this is a training mission that's conducted weekly, but for the status of the battery as such, we are actually ready to go to battle stations if need be.
Well, down at Fort Richardson, it was nice and clear when we started to drive up here to your site. It's hard to believe that a person can be riding in an automobile above the clouds, but we were. And I made note of the fact the temperature when we left down there was 72 balmy degrees. What is the temperature outside here on top of the mountain?
Well, presently it is 32 degrees. However, we do have a 20-mile-an-hour wind blowing in. This brings the chill factor right down to around 0 degrees. So it's hope you brought some warm clothing with you.
Well, Lieutenant, to sum it up, just a few other questions. One very important one. I've looked at the map, and I can see it. Just how far are we from Russian territory? We're not too far away.
We're just a little over 800 miles from the Russian border.
All right, sir. We've talked a lot about your operation. Now I want to talk about the man. How long have you been in the Army? How long have you been with Air Defense? And where is home, as you say, up here in Alaska, back in the lower 48?
Well, home is in the lower 48. I'm from Seattle, Washington. I've been on this site for approximately 15 months and in the Army just short of 2 years.
Well, I want to thank you very much for inviting me up here and letting me come in the van and see how you carry on one of your simulated exercises. We've been talking to First Lieutenant Larry Gove, the executive officer for Bravo Battery, 4th Battalion, 43rd Artillery. And from high atop this mountain, overlooking Anchorage, Alaska. This is Sergeant Major Don Cosgrove returning you to the Army Hour in Washington, D.C.
The oldest story which is ever new. A boy, a girl who waits, and chapel bells. Now a rich young tenor voice blends with the United States Army field band and chorus to tell the story of young love in the Bells of St. Mary's.
The bells of St. Mary's at sweet eventide shall call me, beloved, to come to your side, and out in the valley in search of the sweet. I know you'll be waiting, yes, waiting for me. The bells of St. Mary's are here, they are calling. The young loves are true loves who come from the sea. Oh, my beloved, when red leaves are falling, the love bells shall ring out for you and me. Oh, my beloved, oh, my beloved, here they are calling, here they are calling. The young loves, the true loves who come from the sea. Oh, my beloved, when red leaves are falling, the love bells shall ring out for you. The bells are calling, beloved, the bells of St. Mary's. Ding dong of St. Mary's.
The Army Nurse Corps offers nurses unparalleled opportunities for professional and personal growth. The Army offers financial assistance programs for the student nurse, as well as specialization courses for the professional nurse. To find out how you can serve your country and yourself as an Army nurse, visit the Army Recruiter in your community. Now the Army Dance Band Combo comes on to wind up this session with a jaunty little item called Digits. The Army Hour, pre-recorded for broadcast at this time, is produced by the Office of the Chief of Information, Department of the Army. Music by the Dixielanders, directed by Master Sergeant Lonnie Wilfong, and the United States Army Field Band and Chorus, conducted by Major Hal J. Gibson. Our guest performers on stage were the four specialists. Script and production by David B. Eskind. This is Lieutenant Denny Reeder speaking.